Good afternoon and welcome to More Than Meets the Eye. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today we're going to be talking about Ironworks. Both the Ironworks from the Transformers Earthrise release back in 2020 and the Ironworks from the 2021 Amazon exclusive 2-pack. I cannot remember what that 2-pack was called, but it was a 2-pack based around rescuing a character from danger. A character named Skylinks. So, I got both of these guys here. I realized I hadn't talked about Ironworks. I mentioned that in yesterday's video, and an update on yesterday's video before we really get into Ironworks here. The HasLab project has extended time until tonight at 11:59 p.m. That's right, July 18th at 11:59 p.m. will be the last time you can pick up a Dragonfly, the the G.I. Joe Classified Series HasLab 1/12 scale helicopter. And it's actually modeled off of the Cobra helicopter back in the day. That was the father of the Apache helicopter that we know of today. And the Apache is the father of the Comanche, which is still an experimental helicopter. And I'm not sure if it's actually put into circulation or not. But the Comanche was a cool helicopter, and the Apache is even cooler. And then the Cobra was, the father of them. So not quite as cool as an Apache, but it's there. It's there. Anyway, so that project's still going on, and had a bit of an itchy beard, and it's a project that I recommend backing if you are into G.I. Joe Classified series, because that's the only way to get Wild Bill. Anyway, that was all I wanted to say on that one, and let's talk about Ironworks here. So let's put one Ironworks off to the side, and we'll put the one that's holding the Star Saber off to the side, and let's just talk about this Ironworks here. Now, this Ironworks here, he comes with some accessories. Not everything here is an accessory. This big tube is actually from the Red Cog. It's an energon tube, and these are the accessories he comes with. He comes with one little gun that's like a bar with a handle on the end, and some textures on one end to be like a space-age laser gun, a laser pistol. And then the other one is more like a smokestack kind of thing with a handle on it. So it's got 2 siege ports on it, and the other one has 2 siege pegs on it. Well, 3 siege pegs if you count the handle. So you can combine those together in a couple of different ways, and you can get different types of weaponry that way. Though they are kind of boring, and I do wish there was a little more than just these 2. But let's set these guys off to the side, and really let's talk about this this Ironworks. So first off, let's talk articulation. We'll get that out of the way. 360-degree movement on both shoulders, left and right. Now this guy isn't symmetrical, so his left arm and his right arm are different. There is a 90-degree elbow in his right arm, and also elbow swivel in at the elbow, and a swivel at the hook on the end of the crane arm. So that's that articulation for that arm. Now this arm has the same type of shoulder, 90 degrees upwards motion, 360-degree rotation, and difference is double jointed elbows, but sadly the hand is static and doesn't move. But it does get double jointed elbows, which is really nice. And then you can kind of fold them up, and you can actually click it down, and suddenly he's got a big old shield on one side of his body. I just think that's fun. He's a fun figure. Now, articulation continuing, his head moves 360 degrees. It can also look up slightly, it can look down slightly, and he can crack his neck left and right. The hips, sadly, do not move much. Like, I'd give it 30 degrees on each side of movement, maybe less than 30 degrees. We could say 20, 15. It's something like that. It's not much movement at all. It's just enough for him to be able to kind of look over his shoulder, but not by far. And that's it for those. Now, he does have some really nice hip action going here, so he can kick really far up on the right, on the side. He can kick decently up on the in the front, and there's a nice ratchet in there. It's a soft ratchet, but it's still a good ratchet. And that's about it. He can't really kick behind because of his armored skirts. Then you can also rotate at the thigh. He's got thigh rotation, and because of the hollowness in the backs of his legs, his knees can pull extreme bending. He can actually get in the crane stance, which is kind of cool. I kind of think that's neat. Just bend that knee just a bit. Hey, you're supposed to be, hey, twist your body just a bit. There you go. Look, crane stance. Oh, yeah. He's going to kick somebody in the face. So that's those, and we talked about the thigh rotation, and then finally down here at the bottom we have the ankle pivot. Now this ankle pivot is extreme ankle pivot, and that's really fun. I think that's neat, and it can come in handy whenever you're doing things like building this into a city or something. Having that extreme pivot on the feet can add some extra dimensions to this guy in his other modes. Now let's talk siege ports and pegs before we get any further. There's one peg, two pegs on his wrist area of his arm, and peg holes, siege ports on his wrist area of his arm. And if you pull off the end of the crane, you get a siege peg, and then on his shoulder you get another peg. So that's two ports, three ports, and one peg on his right arm. And then on his left arm, we've got one port, two ports counting his hand, and then a peg. So that's two pegs, 5 ports. And then on the front of his body, we've got a peg that can stick out of his chest. So that's 3 pegs. Then we have another peg where you fold his chest down. You got another peg here that can pull out of his chest. So that makes it 4 pegs. Then we've got nothing going on here, nothing around there, flipping around to his back. We've got no sort of peg or port activities going on his back, sadly. So that's a missed opportunity in my opinion. We come down here, we've got no ports or pegs, except down here at the knees, which got 2 pegs. 2 ports, I mean. So we are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ports, and 1, 2, 3, 4 pegs. Then we come down here to the bottoms of his feet, and we get 2 more. So that's 9 ports and 5 pegs on this guy. Not bad at all. A lot of room to explore and do some fun things with. And if you pick up his legs, you introduce 2 more ports and 2 more pegs. So he can go up to 11 ports and up to 7 pegs. Not bad at all. Now let's talk the sculpt work. We've already discussed articulation, and then I'll discuss some fun things you can do with this robot that are unique to him. Sculpt-wise, will come from the feet and will go up. He's got nice robot-feeling feet. I do like his knee area and the siege port that's on the very top of the knee. That's kind of fun. You can do a lot with that. And these are just some nice-feeling legs. He does have this entire road panel on the side of each of his legs, which is kind of a shame. I do wish you could do more with that, because if we take away this road panel, which is very smooth, and it's got some little lines in it to emphasize that it's a road, we can give it a yank and yank it off of his side of his leg. Now here's something that I am upset with this guy. This is my biggest negative on him. This panel that comes off his leg, they didn't give it the airlock style on the end that connects to the leg. Instead, we've got this little bar there. And interestingly enough, though, and if this works right, that would be fun, we can, and let's see if we can, plug in another bar to that. Is that the right size for airlock to be plugged in? Let's take a look. No, it's too wide for airlock, which is a shame. It's just, why? Why are you going to do something so cool as to give us this panel on the side, but you didn't give it an airlock so we can actually do more stuff with it? The only thing that can plug into this clip on the side is this type of leg panel, and that is a shame. It would have been cool if we could have clipped other airlock designs, because the way this clip feels, it is exactly like how this airlock clip feels. The only difference is that the airlock clip is much shorter than the clip on the side of his leg, but not by much. No. Let's take a look. There's that, and actually, I think, no, there it is. Yeah, the clip on the side of his leg is just slightly longer than the airlock. Now, let's try out a different technique real quick. We are going to grab his other side of his leg, and on the side of his leg there is an airlock system. There's a clip. So let's see if we can clip it onto that. Oh, wait, what if we clip it onto this clip here? Can it click? Can it clip? It can! Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. That can actually clip together. And that means you can get some more stuff going on here. I just discovered that, and that's not bad. It's a little annoying that it's not, as centered as I would like it to be, but that's still really nice. That's really cool that you can do that. And on the underside of this leg, when we take the panel off, we get this really great sculpt work. There's all this paneling in there. There's these, it's just, I wanted this side of this leg. It's so nice. And there's a peg there too. But it's just a really nice texture. It's all hidden by this panel that you have to plug in and pull out. And then it snaps down and hides all of that amazing texture on the side of the leg. And that's a shame. That is a shame that texture is hidden, because that's some good textures right there. Now, coming up the legs to the thighs, because we're getting back to the textures, we've got some really great thigh texture action going on here. I love it. It feels like robot thighs. It's just, it's so nice. I love me some thigh textures. It's really amazing whenever they don't forget about it and they actually give you some thigh action. That's great. Come up here to the waist area, and we get some nice crotch detailing going on in here. We've got the big bulbous hip joints for his robot mode. Very robotic feeling hip joints. That's really nice. And we come up here to his chest area, and we've got this texture of the roof of an industrial plaza building. It's got all of the right one. It feels like it's made out of corrugated steel. It's really great. It's a wonderful, wonderful texture. Just really good on the top of a building. The roof of a building is this guy's chest area. Yeah, he's got a bit of a mono boob because of it, but we don't mind. I mean, we can actually work this out. Not only does he have mono boob, but he has mono nipple. Just something fun. Let's get over here to the side. We've got one of his arms, his left arm, which actually becomes a chunk of road, and a really heavy-duty chunk of road, because this is the road chunk that I guess the crane's allowed to drop things on. Like if it needs to drop something, it can drop something on this because it's more reinforced than the other road panels, and you can feel it in there. There's more rivets in there. There's more dents. This feels like a well-used section of road, and it's got some really wonderful small textures in there that you wouldn't really be able to see with your eyes. And there's vents. There's a vent texture right there. It makes me happy. There's actually a vent texture hidden in amongst all of the textures that make up the left arm, and that's fun. That vent texture is right below the siege peg on his shoulder. Over here on his right arm, we have the crane arm, and I call it that because this arm becomes a crane, and you get some really great crane textures in here. Some pistons, and it feels like cables and stuff like that. I do wish they had gone a little more on the crane textures, because it does feel a bit lacking on the crane textures, but it isn't too bad. And then you have the end of the crane there with the hook that makes up the arm. Excellent crane. He's a wonderful little crane, and we'll discuss that crane more in tomorrow's video with the Blind Builds building Ironworks. Then we come up to his head texture, and he's one of the Autobots that's got a face shield and then some eyes in there. It's really difficult to get your fingers in there and feel it, but he's got a small enclosed helmet, and there's no kind of vent above his head. A lot of times Autobots and stuff have a vent up there. This guy doesn't. He just has a simple helmet. Then, we're going to turn around here to this back, and we're going to discuss the last textures, which is a very smooth back. He's got a very clean backpack. It's one of the road plates put on there, and the road plate that makes up his waist area is also there. That's really nice. I like how they both sit on top of each other. It makes them for really nice textures back there. Now, let's talk about a couple of the fun things you can do with this figure. Okay, fun thing number one. Let's go ahead and pick up this peg. Where's this peg? Come on, peg. Come on, peg. There it goes. All right, pick that peg up. Now, go ahead and remove the crane arm, and then we can put it there. Oh, hey, peg, don't you fold back down. I'm showing people things. There, like that. Now you can have him walking around and picking things up and just, walking them back and forth if you wanted. I think that's kind of neat. Even more so, take that off, and we can actually fold the front of his chest down, and that is it reveals this pocket area, like a scoop, a shovel scoop thing, and that's part of the armor stuff that you can add this shovel scoop thing to somebody's arm, but it's really heavy and it doesn't make any sense. But in this mode, you can put stuff in there. And because he's an industrial plaza, it makes sense that he would have kind of a carrying section. You can put the top of the crane in there, and you can put his pistols in there too. Two guns he comes with. And all of that stuff just kind of sits in there. Isn't that nice? And I realized this was really neat because he's an industrial plaza. He's designed to build buildings and construct Autobot cities and stuff like that. So you can have this guy actually have like pieces of the city in the city you're building in his little scoop there, and then you can have his crane arm come up. What I took off the crane section. Let's put the crane section back on his hand. Okay, this is the crane section, and his guns are still in there. Yep. And then we can put this gun back in there. There we go. Now we're going to attach the crane section to his crane arm. And now you can have the crane come over here, grab something, and then, pretend or, just have it on display of him, grabbing things from there with the crane arm and then bringing them over and lowering them down to the ground where a Micromaster can grab it and do whatever they want with it. I just think it's cool. He's a walking dump truck like this. It is just a neat little aspect of this toy not many people talk about on this on this platform. So put those guns away and let's close that back up. So that's everything in a nutshell. Now let's talk about one of the things that does get me a little sad, I should say, is that we'll take this panel off his back for now. And now on the backs of his legs, we've got this huge hollow section. And this is the part that kind of gets me. When they designed this, you would think that they would, since there's an airlock, a male and a female airlock right there, they would have just given you a smaller road plate thing that could fold over the side. And here's what I'm talking about, okay? We're going to take this guy, and we're going to attach him to this. So we got to do it in reverse because of the way this works, sadly. But you can plug it in there, and then it folds over. And it perfectly folds over the backs of his legs. And isn't that nicer? I mean, yeah, it's the underside of the road and it's a bit waffled, but if we had some 3D printers, that would be cool. Just 3D print a little piece that clicks in and then it folds over the backs of his legs and it will hide that hollowness. Yeah, you'll lose the really amazing knee action he's got going on when you put this in because his leg will only do that. He'll only fold back about 70 degrees, but still. Oops. His leg fell off. It's still really fun, and I think it's a missed opportunity for this character, and I really hope there is somebody out there who designs the expansion pack stuff, the add-on stuff, that has thought about making a 3D printed add-on for that particular spot. I think it would be fun. Now let's go ahead and reattach this panel to his back, and there we have it. That is Ironworks in a nutshell. I give this figure a 7.5 for robot mode out of a possible 10. He's not a bad robot mode, but he definitely lacks in some articulation. Actually, no, just 7. 7 out of 10. He lacks in articulation. There's some parts on him that I wish they had spent a little more time on, and I wish they had given us, different types of panels for the sides of the legs. Because why did they sculpt in all of that wonderful texture underneath that panel? And you're never going to see it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And they had actually made the installation part up there, airlock design, so that these leg panels that he has would have, 3 sides of them have airlock on them. And that would be amazing instead of just the 2 sides that have airlock. And the bottom doesn't even have a full airlock system. It's got half airlock system. It's only got the clip bit. It doesn't have the attachment bit, which is a shame. And yeah, it would be cool to have those pieces fold over the backs of the legs. But everybody's falling over now, and I think I've talked long enough about Ironworks here. Please tune into my channel tomorrow. We will be talking about how to disassemble and reassemble your Ironworks into both his Industrial Plaza mode and his Communications Tower mode, which I have to state that the Communications Tower is built more for the core class than the Micromaster. The Industrial Plaza kind of works more for the Micromaster than the core class, but it does seem to kind of work for both Core Class and Micromaster, and that's why I consider Ironworks to be a Core Class Deluxe. He is a deluxe robot for the Core Class that you can use to expand your Core Class city, or your Core Class bases. But I do wish they would make more stuff like Ironworks for the Core Class, some Deluxe and Voyager figures that are designed specifically to interact with Core Class figures. I think that would be amazing. I mean, you would, yeah, you got the Titan scale, which I consider to be core class interaction scale, but it would be fun to have a leader class that was something like Ironworks, that was a redesigned, 100% loyal to core class, industrial plaza kind of character. I think that would be very interesting, and it would be fun if Hasbro did something like that. Expand upon other things and give us some really fun scaled objects. But I've blathered on long enough today. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and please tune in next Prime, where we'll be talking about this guy on how to build him. Until then, have a great day. Remember, never forget to take some time for yourself to have some fun. Until next Prime, bye bye for now. Aaron, just get out of my way.